So the down and dirty of this all is that Google has gotten their spammy senses out, and their ultimate goal is to provide the best search results possible by keeping out spammy and low quality websites in their searches. So they're saying that this update is going to reduce any spam in any search or searches by 40%. That's a lot. That's a huge reduction. You're listening to the Web Presence Rockstars podcast with me, Misty Smith of Powered by Rio. If you're an entrepreneur on a small budget and are looking to build and increase your online presence, then you're in the right place. I'm a full stack website developer, digital marketing strategist, an SEO professional, and I share tips and how-tos on topics on the latest trends such as websites, social media, analytics, marketing, everything you need to know to grow your business online and to become a rock star. Thanks for listening.
Get out of the way, get out of the way. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm gonna be the biggest rock star that you probably never heard of. I'm gonna be the biggest rock star.
Hey y'all, it's another episode of the Web Presence Rockstars podcast with me, Misty Crovo of Powered by Rio. I hope you guys are doing great, and I hope you're ready for a great episode today. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be super important, so pay attention, take notes, pull over on the side of the road, whatever you need to do, because this, my friends, is super, super important. So, Google has decided to roll out their core update for March of this year, 2024. And it's a doozy. There's going to be some people inadvertently caught up in this, and you need to pay attention in order to fix it, because this could totally affect the way that your site is being served up in search results. So the down and dirty of this all is that Google has gotten their spammy senses out, and their ultimate goal is to provide the best search results possible by keeping out spammy and low quality websites in their searches. So they're saying that this update is going to reduce any spam in any search or searches by 40%. That's a lot. That's a huge reduction. So what we don't want to happen is for your website to be considered spammy, and then you drop in your search engine rankings and you drop in your organic searches and people aren't finding your site. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to tell you the ins and outs of what's happening here and how you can get ahead of it, or if it's too late to get ahead of it, how you can fix it, and how you can track your progress. And yes, that last one, you guessed it, it's by using the Search Console. So hang on to your hats there, people. This is going to be an action-packed informational podcast. So let's jump into this. Today is March the 8th, and this blog post by Google came out on March 5th. And at the time it came out, they've already started rolling this out. So that means you may already be behind in this, or you may have already been caught up in this. But let's start from the top first and then circle back around to what I just said, because hopefully you're not, but you could be, because, I mean, do you even know if you're spamming or not? Probably not, and you're probably doing some practices that Google considers as spammy, but that you have no idea that they're spammy. So let's start with the basics on this first, okay? So the super smart people at Google have decided to tweak their algorithms in order to hunt down all the bad content and stop serving the bad content in search results. So let me just remind you of this. I've said this before. Google is for the users, not for the website owners. Google is here to provide people with the best search results of the information that is listed on the World Wide Web. So you can put your website up there, no problem, and Google can can index it. It doesn't have to. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But if Google has indexed your site, then it can put you in an order, and it can match your website up with search strings that people put into the little Google search bar. So, again, this has nothing to do with your website and everything to do with how people are searching and the experience that the people have while they're searching. So I guess, well, we all know you do a search and you get all these crappy links and you don't know if you can click on them or not because it might be a virus, or even if it's not a virus, if you click on there, it might not have the information, or it could be the same information as someone else, or it could be you just clickbait just to get you on their website so they can have the authority that people are clicking. So it's a whole big thing. And Google has been trying for years to scale this back. And so they've put a lot of algorithms and policies into practice. But now they're serious. They've done their research and now they're serious. So this algorithm is going to be a spam buster, okay? So the biggest takeaways from this whole core update are, first of all, you need original content on your website. All right, so there it is. Nothing new. I've said it before. Don't know if you believe me or not. You don't have to believe me. I know that your best friend's third cousin's brother's wife's third removed uncle has been getting great results with their website by using AI and AI generated content. And you think, oh, well, he's doing it. He's getting great results. I can too. Yeah, don't do that. Just don't. It's going to catch up with this person. It's going to catch up with everyone who is doing this and who doesn't have original content. So use original content. And when I say use original content, use the content that you have created yourself. It's coming from your voice, okay? You're saying it the way no one else is saying it. I mean, it could be the same information, but you're saying it in an original way that can help out a certain group of people. It may not help out everyone, but it can resonate with a certain group of people the way that you've written it, the way that you've explained it, the way that they read it. It's got to be original content. It's your voice with your information and your expertise. So that's the first way, the first biggest takeaway. The next takeaway is that you need to create the content for users, not for search engines, okay? And you might think, well, what's the difference? Well, there's a big difference. Content created for users is what I was just talking about. It's original, fresh content created by you, created in your voice, created in an expert voice that provides the user with good information about what they're searching for. Instead of living in the keyword cosmos, like some of you still are, and forcing keywords into your content that maybe read funny, or you can tell that you're just pushing keywords in because you think people are actually searching for those terms. And we'll get into this later, but you know that you can use the Search Console to see what people are actually searching for. And then you can use a few of those words and a lot of that information to kind of tweak your content a little bit to where it reads right, but it also answers people's questions and it applies to the people who are actually looking for the information that you have, instead of just like forcing people or trying to force people to come to your site. So if you're using keywords as defined by what everyone thinks keywords are, one word, it's one word, keyword, it's all one word, that's what people are looking for, when in all honesty, people are not looking for one word. They're typing in search strings. Think about how you search. Think about the search strings and the way that you form these search strings when you are typing in a search for your personal use and for yourself. And apply that logic to how you're writing your content. And it is going to take some practice and it's going to take some tweaking, but Google now can tell when you're writing your content for search engines and not for people. So specifically to get the rankings as opposed to making someone happy because they found information that was helpful to them on your website. Okay? All right, moving on. So don't use duplicated content or unoriginal content or content that has been automated by any type of machine learning or AI search or chat GPT or whatever. And then I'm going to have a disclaimer here. If you want to use chat GPT or any type of AI prompt to help you create your content, go for it. But don't use it verbatim. We've had this conversation. I've done a lot of episodes on this topic specifically. Use it as a writing tool. Use it as an outline creator. Use it as if you have a writing block. Use it to generate ideas, but don't use it verbatim. Don't copy and paste it. Use it as a jumping off point and then create your own content from there, okay? Because in this blog post that Google did on the 5th, they did say a combination of both, like if it was created through automation or if it was created by a person. And sometimes if you do create as a person, you're duplicating something else that you've seen, or it's not your view, or it's not your original view, or it's written in a way that looks like you've copied it from someone else. So that's how not to write your content. And yeah, okay, everyone's like, man, you're just adding more work to me creating content for my website. Well, yeah, that's kind of what it's come to, because all these system buckers and who are trying to circumvent everything and trying to get ahead and step on the good people or pushing everyone down, they finally had enough of it. Google has, and you're going to have to work harder to get ahead instead of taking the easy way out. So yeah, that's what this is about. So don't use duplicated or unoriginal content, and hit the rewind button if you want to hear me say again what original content is, because I've said it at least twice on here already. All right. So moving on to the 4th one. When creating scaled content, don't do it just to boost rankings. All right. And what I mean by scaled content is when you are creating an enormous amount of content and you're posting it and you're doing it for purposes to boost your rankings. Because like someone says, more is better. And sure it is. But you can repurpose your content. You can take old content and boost it again. You can, rework all of your content. You can create new content. But if you're doing it in a way that it's not original, or if you're doing it through automation, then Google's going to catch you. Their spammy senses are going to kick in, and they know that you're doing that. So it's a fine line when you are trying to scale content. And I mean, I guess, I don't know, it looks kind of weird if you're putting like for a long time you didn't have any content and all of a sudden you've got like 500 blog posts in like 2 days. Yeah, that's going to throw up a red flag. So, but if you already have like a huge amount of blog posts or content on your website, and then you're adding more, or again, you're repurposing your content, make sure you do it in a normal way, in a scaled way that doesn't look like you're just doing it to get more pages indexed to jump up in the search engine rankings, okay? I know it's kind of weird, it's kind of a fine line there, but in your heart if you're creating a whole bunch of content just to get ahead, right? Yeah, you do. If you think about it long enough, if you're doing it or not. So everyone be honest with yourself and stop trying to circumvent any system and stop trying to get one over on Google, because it's not going to happen. All right. And the 5th one is create valuable content that answers questions that people are actually looking for. All right. Like, like me's, let's say, and of course, I don't do blog posts, I do this podcast. And we all know that I don't do it on a consistent basis. So, but, I try to think of topics that people number one, they don't know about, and this would be informative to them. Or if they've heard about it and they need more information about it, or they want to learn more about it. That's what my content creation is all about. And it should be yours too. So, any kind of how-to, blog post or content on your website, especially if it's like a hot topic and people are searching for it, that's fine, but make sure it pertains to what your website's about. So like you don't want to put information on your website about how to plant a garden if your website is about digital marketing, unless you're drawing some kind of weird like analogy. But even then, the analogy is going to be small and it's not going to be like the crux of your information. So you get what I'm saying. Because also, if you have information on your website that doesn't really pertain to what your website's about, then that could be deemed as what I was talking about with the domain reputation. Or I haven't talked about that yet. So this is a perfect segue to go into that. Google calls it site reputation abuse. And that's exactly what I just described. So you have a website and you're hosting low quality blog posts from third parties and they're using you or you're using them or whatever. Like someone's using someone to get more of a domain authority for their rankings, which means that the website would rank higher, if that makes sense. So again, if you're using content that doesn't pertain, it's more like clickbait, then that's going to be considered spam as well, because it doesn't necessarily pertain to what your website's about. And it's the same thing with the domain abuse, the reputation abuse, that, all these third-party people want to hop on your website with their articles and their blog posts just so that they can increase the reputation of their website. It's all about the backlinks and who's linking and who's clicking and all that. But for this purpose, don't do the clickbait and don't mix information on your website that's going to be confusing to the reader, because they're going to be like, well, I thought it was about this and they're talking about this and what does this have to do with this? And it's just not something that's going to work out. So find a format that works for you. I mean, if you do use analogies, that's cool. I use them all the time. But just make sure you're not like promoting your site for one thing, but when people get there, it's something else. So don't confuse any of the viewers or the searchers who are coming to your website, or even try to confuse Google. It's not going to work. And then the last thing that they said not to do is don't try to purchase expired domains just for the purpose of trying to capitalize on past SEO. So you can buy a domain, it's got a bunch of traffic and a history of good SEO. Like maybe somebody forgot to renew their domain, and then as soon as it's available to the public, there's a list that goes on and people are jumping on that to try to capitalize. Because what happens is you're going to end up putting other information on there that doesn't necessarily match the past SEO strength or even the domain name. So that is considered a spammy practice, and don't do it. That's the bottom line. Don't do it. So Google really seems pretty serious about this. And again, it's already been rolled out. So what are you supposed to do now? Because it could already be happening to you. You could already be taken down for some practices. And again, I'm not saying that you're spammers. I'm saying that you may be participating in some of these practices that are now considered spammy. So there's some old school practices like living in the keyword cosmos again, that you think your website should have all these keywords in it, or someone told you it was a really good idea to use ChatGPT to write your blog post for you because it has more information and that's what people are searching for. I mean, you could just be caught up in this and not really know that you're caught up in it. So this is more for awareness. And if you're at that spot, or even maybe you're teetering on, I don't know if I am or not, this is what you need to do. Okay? So go through all of your content, like all of it, all of your content. If you have any AI generated content, or if you created content that is similar or identical to someone else's, then clean it all up. Rewrite it, get rid of it, write it in your own words, do whatever, but get rid of it. Make it your own and take it down. Okay, so going back to the reputation abuse thing, if you do have that on your site, if you do have third-party blog posts, or if you are writing third-party blog posts for someone else, you have until May 5th to clean that up. Google is giving you till May 5th. So that's kind of nice to get it all cleaned up before they ding you on it. So you do have a little wiggle room on that to get that taken care of. But just as an FYI, again, it might be too late. You might have already been dinged for this. And the way that you tell, obviously, is the way that you tell anytime that there's a Google Core update. You look at your analytics, you look at your search console, and you can even like put your business name in a search string, or in a search string for a search, and see what happens. See if your site's even being ranked at all. And if it's too late, you can still clean it up and then re-index it, or request re-indexing to kind of circle back around and fix this. Just like any other core update, that's what you would do, and that's the same thing that you would do now. So let's get into the Search Console piece of this. All right, so again, you can see if there's any manual issues, that there's something wrong. You'll get a notification that something is wrong with one of your pages, or you can just look at the data of the performance data to see if you're dropping in how many times, how many impressions that you have for the total of search strings, and look at the search strings. Like if you had at one point, like 1 month you had like 500 different search strings, and then all of a sudden now you have 20. Obviously there's a problem and you've been hit by this. And so just keep an eye on that. Go ahead anyway and start cleaning up your website. This is the best time to start cleaning it up. Start rewriting your content if you think that any of your content's going to fall under any of this. If it is something that you did through ChatGPT, or if you keyword stuffed, or if it's not original, if you duplicated the content. And even if it's your own content that you duplicated, just clean it all up. Just make sure that the content on your website is original. It's concise. It's written by you as an expert on the topic, and it's going to help answer someone's question, or it's going to help someone who is searching for something specifically and they happen upon your website. Don't clickbait, don't confuse people, don't lead someone to your website just to get the rankings, because 40% is a lot. And that's what they're trying to reduce the spam results by in all the search results, is 40%. And if you're a business, if you make your living selling your courses or your products, and you have a blog and you have content on your website, and if this is, how you make a living, you don't want to be caught up in all of that. You don't want to lose any good SEO that you've already earned just because you wanted to take the easy way out of it. And I've always said that there's no magic pill to this. Regardless of what people tell you, regardless what people say, regardless of these ads that you see on Facebook and on YouTube and whatever, there's no easy way to do this. There's not. It takes hard work, and you're going to have to use your own originality to now get this done. So that's all I have to say about this today. I hope it's helpful. Maybe you guys are like, oh crap, I really got to get to work on this. I got to fix this. And I hope you are. And again, just be careful when you're scaling the content. Like I said before, if you're putting out like, a ton of content in a day or two, that's going to be flagged, and you may drop because of that. And it might not be anything bad that you're doing. It's just that you're doing this one practice that is getting flagged. So just, don't try to pull one over on the Google, because the Google knows. The Google is all knowing, and eventually it's going to catch up with you. Now, I'm sure that this is going to bring on a whole other piece of people trying to circumvent the system. That's it always happens. Always. Like, there's a loophole that people find. And instead of using your powers for the good, and you're putting good content out there for people, you're trying to win one over and get your website to the top when people aren't even looking for it. So do yourself a favor and put out good content and put out helpful content. And if you follow that, then you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But just stay on the lookout. Look at your search console. Look for any signs that you're dropping in any kind of ranking, just like you would for any other core update. But get in there, start cleaning up your content, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, or if you need any help, or if you want me to look at your website to see if any of these things are being addressed on your site that maybe you didn't know about, maybe like another set of eyes to kind of help you out, contact me. Let me know. Leave a voice message by clicking on the link in the show notes, and I'll get back to you, and I'll be happy to help you. Or if you have any other helpful advice on this topic, I would welcome that. Or if you want to comment on anything that I've said, I would welcome that too. So just reach out, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate all my listeners out there. You guys make my day. Every time I see that someone's listened to my podcast, I do a little dance. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I hope I've helped you. And happy websiting.